Ladies and gentlemen, we are not here today to talk about potential. We are here to talk about certainty, because there are women walking among us, not someday great, not maybe great, but undeniably, unmistakably meant for greatness. They don't arrive with fireworks. They don't shout for attention, but they move with purpose, speak with clarity, and live with intention. They are not just rising, they are becoming. And if you're wondering whether you are one of them, let me offer you 20 signs, not to convince you, but to remind you. Body, the 20 signs she knows her why. She doesn't just go through life, she leads it. Her choices are rooted in purpose, not pressure. She embraces failure as a forge. She understands that setbacks are not the opposite of success, they are its foundation. She listens more than she speaks because she values wisdom over volume. She lifts others as she climbs. Her success multiplies, not because she hoards power, but because she shares it. She is not afraid to be seen as too much, too bold, too ambitious, too emotional. She knows that too much is just the world's way of saying more than expected. She sets boundaries like a boss, not as walls, but as gates, protecting her peace, her purpose, and her power. She leads with empathy because she understands influence without connection is just noise. She honors her intuition. Her inner compass is not a backup plan, it's her guiding star. She is fueled by vision, not validation. She doesn't need permission to be powerful. She speaks truth, even when her voice shakes. Because courage is not the absence of fear, it's the decision to show up anyway. She values depth over popularity. Her relationships are intentional, not transactional. She owns her story, every page of it. The broken, the beautiful, the becoming. She hides none of it because it made all of her. She refuses to shrink. In rooms that ask her to be small, she becomes bigger. She chooses growth over comfort, again and again and again. She believes in abundance. There is enough success, joy, love, and legacy for everyone. She shows up even when it's hard. Discipline drives her more than motivation. She surrounds herself with other strong women because she knows iron sharpens iron. She invests in her mind, books, ideas, mentors. Her intellect is not accidental, it's intentional. She takes up space, physically, emotionally, mentally, because the world is better when she shows up fully. She's not waiting to be chosen, she's choosing herself. Every woman meant for greatness starts with a deep, burning clarity about why she exists. Not just what she does, but why she does it. She doesn't move through life chasing applause or ticking boxes set by someone else's standards. She lives from the inside out, not the outside in. She doesn't define her path based on what's trending or what earns the most praise. She defines it by her values, her calling, and the impact she wants to leave behind. This clarity of purpose is not something she stumbled upon by accident. It came from soul searching, from listening in silence, from moments of doubt and reflection. It came from asking the hard questions: what breaks my heart? What fires me up? What problem am I here to solve? What makes me come alive? And because she knows her why, she doesn't get lost in distractions. She's not pulled in 20 different directions trying to be everything to everyone. Her time, her energy, her attention, they're all guarded with intention. When others burn out trying to keep up, she stays aligned. When chaos hits, she doesn't panic. She pivots because her purpose keeps her grounded. She can say no without guilt and yes without hesitation. She doesn't have to explain her vision to everyone, because she knows not everyone will understand it. And that's okay. Greatness doesn't require approval, it requires alignment. Her why gives her stamina. When the work is hard, she keeps going. Not because it's easy, but because it's right. While others chase comfort, she chases impact. She's not driven by ego or image. She's driven by a mission bigger than herself. She's not in competition with anyone because her race is her own. She isn't motivated by being seen, she's motivated by making an difference. And here's what makes her unstoppable. She doesn't just know her why. Intellectually, she feels it. It's in her bones. It's what wakes her up in the morning and keeps her restless at night. It shapes how she leads, how she loves, how she learns. She doesn't need to be the loudest voice in the room because her actions speak louder than any performance. She may not always have the perfect plan, but her purpose gives her direction. She understands that knowing her why doesn't mean every step will be clear. It means she'll never lose sight of the destination. This kind of clarity becomes magnetic. People are drawn to her not just for what she does, but for why she does it. Her conviction inspires confidence. Her vision sparks movement. She becomes the kind of woman who doesn't just succeed, she multiplies success in others. Because when a woman knows her why, she becomes a force of nature, focused, rooted, unshakable. She doesn't just react to life. She creates it. Failure is not the enemy of a woman meant for greatness. It is her most powerful teacher. She does not run from it, hide it, or let it define her worth. Instead, she leans into it. She understands that failure isn't a dead end, it's a detour rich with wisdom. When she stumbles, she doesn't collapse. She recalibrates. Because in every mistake, there's a message. In every setback, there's strategy. She doesn't measure her journey by how perfectly she avoided obstacles, but by how courageously she navigated through them. She knows that falling is not weakness, staying down is. So she gets up every time, scraped knees, bruised pride, broken plans. She carries them all not as shame, but as evidence that she tried, that she showed up, that she was bold enough to risk. She doesn't sugarcoat her past or dress her failures in false positivity. She names them, studies them, and grows stronger because of them. She knows that those hard moments shaped her more than the easy ones ever could. She's not chasing perfection. She's chasing growth, and growth is never clean. It's messy, nonlinear, and often painful, but she's not afraid of pain because pain has purpose. Pain is how she builds resilience. Every disappointment becomes an invitation to dig deeper, to stand taller, to come back wiser. When she's told no, she doesn't internalize rejection. She turns it into redirection. When a door closes, she doesn't freeze in frustration. She finds a window or builds a new door altogether. Her failures do not steal her fire, they feed it. What sets her apart is not that she fails less, it's that she recovers faster. She doesn't wallow in self-pity or drown in comparison. She allows herself to feel the sting of defeat, but then she shifts. She asks, "What is this here to teach me?" And more importantly, who can I become because of this? Her mind is wired for transformation. Challenges don't discourage her, they activate her. She doesn't just bounce back, she levels up. She's also honest about the journey. She doesn't pretend it's all effortless or glamorous. She shares the truth of the process, knowing that someone else's survival may depend on seeing her scars. She knows that vulnerability is not weakness, it's leadership. And through that leadership, she becomes a mirror for others. Her strength, born of struggle, becomes a roadmap for those still finding their way. She treats every failure like a forge, not just something she walks through, but something that reshapes her. She's constantly being refined, burned, bent, and strengthened. And though it's uncomfortable, she knows that fire doesn't destroy gold, it reveals it. Each mistake makes her more alert, more aware, more prepared for what's next. She's not afraid of being humbled, because humility is what keeps her hungry, and hunger is what keeps her growing. There is a quiet kind of power in a woman who speaks the truth, even when her voice shakes. She does not wait for the perfect moment or for certainty to silence fear. She steps forward in spite of the fear, because she understands that truth spoken from the heart is more powerful than eloquence crafted for comfort. Her voice is not always the loudest in the room, but it is the one that carries weight. It is the voice people remember, not because it entertains or pleases, but because it matters. She knows that courage is not the absence of fear, it's the presence of conviction. And conviction demands expression, so she tells the truth even when it's uncomfortable, even when it disrupts the norm, even when it costs her approval. She does not speak to impress, she speaks to impact. Her words come from a place of clarity, not ego, and that's what gives them their strength. She doesn't water down her message to fit into fragile systems or protect fragile egos. She understands that truth is not always convenient, but it is always necessary. When she speaks with integrity. She is not driven by the desire to be liked, but by the need to be real. She doesn't fake agreement just to maintain harmony. She doesn't shrink her opinion just to avoid tension. She doesn't hide her story to make others comfortable, because she knows that truth telling is a form of leadership, and leadership begins with authenticity. Her honesty isn't harsh, it's healing. It might sting in the moment, but it plants seeds of change. She also knows the cost of silence. She has felt the ache of holding back, of biting her tongue when something needed to be said. She's learned that staying silent when her heart is screaming is a form of self-betrayal. So now, she chooses herself. She speaks not just for herself, but for those who haven't found the strength yet to speak for themselves. Her voice becomes a bridge between fear and freedom, not just for her, but for everyone who hears it. And when her voice shakes, she doesn't interpret it as weakness. She sees it as a sign that what she's saying matters. That she's breaking through a layer of fear that has kept others quiet. Every word, even the shaky ones, are an act of defiance against silence. She's not here to perform, she's here to be heard. And even if her truth rattles cages, she knows it's not her job to make others comfortable. It's her responsibility to be clear, honest, and courageous. She is not always understood, and she has made peace with that, because her goal isn't to be accepted, it's to be authentic. She trusts that the right people will hear her, and more importantly, feel her. Her truth may not change every room, but it will light a spark somewhere, and she knows that one spark is enough to start a fire. A woman meant for greatness understands that boundaries are not barriers to love, success, or connection. They are the blueprint of self-respect. She knows that saying no is not a rejection of others but a protection of herself. She has learned, often the hard way, that giving everyone unlimited access to her time, her energy, and her emotions leads only to exhaustion, resentment, and fragmentation. So now she draws her lines with intention, not out of fear or control, but out of deep clarity about what she values, what she needs, and who she is becoming. Her boundaries are not rigid walls, they are living frameworks. They move with her growth, with her healing, with her evolving sense of purpose. She does not create them to punish others, but to honor herself. She knows the difference between being kind and being used, between being open and being overrun. And so she no longer apologizes for protecting her peace. She understands that not everyone will like her boundaries, and she accepts that, because her goal is not universal approval, it's alignment. She has learned that boundaries are essential to every healthy relationship, not just the toxic ones. They allow her to give from overflow, not depletion. She doesn't have to be available 24/7 to prove her worth. She doesn't have to explain herself to people who are committed to misunderstanding her. She doesn't have to keep breaking herself into pieces so others can feel whole. She shows up fully, but not at the cost of herself. Her presence is a gift, and she gives it mindfully, not mindlessly. And because she honors her own limits, she also respects the boundaries of others. She doesn't take it personally when someone says no. She doesn't manipulate or guilt people into compliance. She leads with emotional maturity. She models what it looks like to have fierce grace, to be both strong and soft, both firm and compassionate. Her strength doesn't come from domination. It comes from discernment. She's not afraid to walk away from environments that don't respect her boundaries. She has made peace with being misunderstood, with being labeled as difficult, too much, or cold. She knows that people who benefit from her lack of boundaries will always resist her decision to build them. And still, she builds, because the cost of betraying herself is one she is no longer willing to pay. Her boundaries allow her to focus, to create, to rest, to dream. She is no longer available for chaos, for gossip, for drama, for energy leaks. She moves differently now, with intention, with clarity, and with self-respect. She is not afraid to leave a table where she is no longer fed. She has learned that it's not her job to fix, save, or carry everyone. Her job is to rise, and to do so with a full cup, a clear mind, and a heart that knows its limits.